Need everybody to close your eyes. Go ahead. I'll give you 2 seconds. Close your eyes. Picture your best friend. Maybe that best friend is your spouse, a family member, a loved one, your bestie, perhaps someone in this room. Think about the last conversation you had with this person, the last time you spent together. What was that like? Now you can go ahead and open your eyes. Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, some of you kept your eyes open. I can only think that means that I'm your best friend because you're looking at me. So thank you. But I closed my eyes for a second, and I thought about my best friend. His name, Sean Thomas Dolan. We lived together for 5 years. He's the longest standing roommate I've ever had that doesn't share my last name. That's very impressive. Throughout that time together, he would often tell his dad, I could live with Todd forever. And I would usually joke and say, I don't think that's possible. You ask my wife now, that's not easy to do. But he would say it. And I thought to myself, I probably could live with him forever too. There's a couple things about him that really would stand out. The first was personality. When you see Sean, he's the life of the party. We met in middle school band. In a middle school band, I played the French horn, not the coolest instrument. He played the trombone, which was a lot cooler than the French horn. I'd look over, see all the trombone players like this. I'm standing over here like this, like an idiot. And I would see them, and I'd see Sean, and I'd say, that's the guy I need to know. That guy's the life of the party. That would continue from middle school to high school, on to college. He was known for a couple different things. He had superior athletic ability. I had mediocre athletic ability. We worked out well together, as long as he's on my team. He was also a very fashionable guy in his own sense. I would often see pictures of him and say, hey, that's my shirt that he was wearing. And as roommates, he would not really do laundry very often, so he would often be wearing my shirts that were clean in the pictures. He was also known for his boat shoes and his plaid shirts. He was a modern-day Jimmy Buffett of our generation. Through that personality, we knew that we would become best friends. That personality of his was infectious, which was ironic because his initials were STD. Sean Thomas Dolan. True story. It was in high school where I saw the second attribute I liked the most, which was his heart. His mom was a teacher in the special education department, and one day I walked into that classroom with him. And I saw the kids in that classroom, and their eyes lit up like Christmas Day when they saw Sean. He knew each and every one of those children by name. He knew their likes, their interests, their families' lives. And it was at that moment where I said, I would like to make that type of impact as well. I went on to volunteer in that program, and as you heard from my last speech, volunteered in another program, which all stemmed from the feeling that I felt seeing him interact and give his time back to those kids. We moved on to college together. We roomed together at the national champion UCF. Some of the best years of our lives. Many of those stories are not proper for this type of setting, but trust me, we had some good times together. I'll fast forward on to summer 2008, almost exactly 10 years ago today. The time was ending, we'd all graduated, time to move on, the lease was almost up. 2 of our roommates were getting married, Austin and Crystal. We went on to Daytona to their wedding and had a blast. I remember sitting on the back of the hotel overlooking the water with Sean, reminiscing on all the great years of college. He was Lambda Chi, just like our boy Chris here. Reminiscing on those years of college and then thinking about what the future holds. At that time and that night, it was a great moment. Little did I know, that was going to be the last moment we'd share together. 3 nights later, there's a knock on my door at 2 a.m. It's one of my roommates. Sean had been airlifted to RMC, right down there. I jumped in the car with my other 2 roommates and his frantic, psychotic girlfriend, who kind of gave us a story of what happened, although even until today, 10 years later, we don't know exactly what happened. But we know that it involved drinking and driving a car and an argument that they had. At the hospital that night, the night led into the morning, and things were not looking good. It was on me to make the phone calls to some of our closest friends and family, telling them they needed to get to the hospital. By noon that day, the walls of the hospital were lined with hundreds of supporters, friends, and family of Sean's. It was at that moment that I realized he was my best friend, but he's also a best friend to so many other people. the impact he made was truly tremendous. Later that day, the injuries he sustained to his head were too bad, and he was gone. His parents, who I'm close with today, always fear that he will be forgotten. That's what they tell me is their biggest fear. But today we have a scholarship named after him in Titusville, where we're from. We have Brick that we go visit at UCF by the Alumni Center that we go see and share a beer with before home football games at UCF. And we have an awesome 16-year fantasy football league where we don these beautiful t-shirts with this beautiful shining face on them so that whatever town we happen to be in that weekend sees a bunch of drunk 30-somethings wearing this guy's face on our shirts. And in giving speeches like this and being able to share his stories, I'll make sure personally that he's never forgotten. I'll also continue to put on my favorite suit with a plaid shirt and boat shoes, just the way Sean would have wanted it. At the beginning of my speech, I asked you to close your eyes and picture your best friend. What was that last conversation like? Unfortunately, I can't have conversations the way that I used to with my best friend. But I still talk about him, think about him, and talk to him every day. I thought he was absolutely crazy when he said he could live with me forever. But as usual, Sean was right. He lives with me forever, every single day, right here. Thank you.